I would say one of my favorite things that I picked up from David's presentation was word searching.
Word searching.
Word searching. What is word searching?
Yeah.
So let's say you're interviewing somebody on your podcast and they say something like, man, yeah, I went out and did that and I just felt so ashamed. Ashamed? You're pulling back the layer like you just mentioned.
Yeah.
And let's dive into that, which goes into the next point that David mentioned.
That's the way he would segue, is repeat whatever that last.
Let me borrow your vulnerability.
Welcome back to another episode of Business Fast Track. Today I have a special guest here in the studio with us. This is AJ. AJ is finna be our new co-host to the Business Fast Track. So there will be some episodes that we will do together, and there will be some episodes that he will do solo without me. And as you have seen, some episodes that I will do. So we're introducing AJ to the podcast. AJ, welcome to the podcast.
Yes, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah,
I'm
glad to have
be
you
here.
on, brother. AJ is very instrumental in a lot of behind the scene things that you have seen take place with the podcast so far. He's in charge of a lot of technical aspects and putting things together. And now he has stepped in front of the camera like myself, and we're glad to have him here.
Yes.
So AJ and I attended the podcast summit in Atlanta. So we thought it was so much information that we experienced, that we learned during the 2026 podcast summit, that we want to create a podcast about the podcast summit. Just to share with some of our current clients that we are currently providing podcasts for, and some of you who are, maybe you're thinking about it, maybe you're teetering on should I, create my own podcast? Yes, there's no present time like today, and that's one of the many things that we learn is there's no excuses. Mm-hmm. You hear all these things about it's so many other people that's doing podcasts, and so got a podcast like the one that I was thinking about. So what? She is not you. He is not you. And there's no other person that is better than you to come on and put your spin to it, put your creative perspective. You'll be surprised how many people gravitate towards your personality, towards the way you look at the world, to the way you look at a particular situation, and we would love to be the production company that brings that to the world. If you're in North Mississippi or wherever you are, we are a production firm that moves around, travel, so fly us out. And we'll be glad to bring all of our bells and whistles to your location to create your next podcast. No further ado, AJ, tell me about your experience at Podcast Summit 2026.
Yes, my experience at Podcast 2026 was simply amazing. At first, when it was first brought to my attention that this is something that we were going to be a part of, I ain't gonna say frowned upon it, but I just didn't give it the value in which it was gonna be, because I didn't know what it was gonna be. I didn't know who David Shan was. I didn't know who CJ was. I knew E.T. I knew DDG. I knew Big Job, B. Simone, all these different people. Omar, of course. So when I saw the people on the lineup who was speaking, then my interest was piqued. Okay. Then I started doing more research. Then I started following all the channels and the pages and just subscribing just so I get alerts so I can see what's going on. And going from seeing them in my feed to seeing them in person, it was just such a cool experience. I was going to say it was a humbling experience, but it wasn't really humbling because those people were humbled themselves. It wasn't like I was in front of a celebrity. Right. Of course I'm standing and talking to somebody who's a millionaire, almost a billionaire. You got 1.1 million subscribers on YouTube, bringing in $600K a month. But just how they talked to me, how they treated us, you wouldn't have.
That was
they,
so
they
cool.
didn't give that off. So it was just really cool. It was really cool. But in a nutshell, we are going to be giving you the information and the gems and the knowledge that we learned so you could start your own podcast. And like he said, of course, we would want you to choose premium productions and let us, put all of our bells and whistles on it and make it glamorous. But some people may not have the budget, and if you're first starting off, these are just some things that we learned that could help you, whether you got your iPhone or your cousin's little Canon T3i and you want to get started. We just want to give you some information so you have no excuse not to start.
Exactly. And that's the main goal, is to share the gems that we learned from going to Atlanta and being in front of these awesome podcasters with you. Mm-hmm. So day one, the first speaker, I think the gentleman's name was Kevin.
Kev on stage.
Kev on stage, who was an actor. And I got comedian vibes from him.
Well, yeah, because that's his presence. That's how he got his claim to fame. From small little skits. He has a lot of movies on Tubi, and he has a lot of, I ain't going to say a lot, but he has about 2 to 3 TV shows on BET. Okay. So that's where we saw his face. Familiar. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I did some research on Kev on stage. He has 2.5 million on Instagram.
Wow.
So he got that check coming in each month. And he also has his own podcast as well. And ever since the summit, I've just been following him and going down his page. And it's crazy because his quality is not like the best. It's not like super duper sharp. Okay. And his setup, it's not just super duper, you know what I'm saying? Like you would think somebody of his caliber would. It's just the content of the conversations and the consistency in which he drops.
And that's one thing that I heard from all of the big time podcasters, motivational speakers, from E.T. to David Shands to Chris Sane to Brandon Dixon, was consistency.
Yep.
All of them spoke about some other things that they are special, or they have a specialty interest and niche in, but the common denominator from Alicia Little, the AI queen, to everyone who hit that stage was the consistency. How your consistency of showing up, teaching your audience that you will be consistent in dropping a podcast either every week, every 2 weeks, once a month, whenever it is. Be consistent at it so they can know when to be checking for you. Exactly. So that was a big one for me.
Exactly. So as the speakers went on stage, if you know me, I love keeping my personal notebook with me. Every meeting we go to, anybody we meet with, important, unimportant, however you want to view it, I'm going to keep a notebook. So I took notes on everybody who spoke. And some of the bullet points that I made with Kev on stage is the fact that one that hit me the most was do not use perfection as a coping mechanism. Do not use perfection as a coping mechanism.
Unpack that, AJ.
Just because I don't have the best lighting, I don't have the best setup, I don't have the best cameras, does not mean that's an excuse not to get started. Okay. And for example, right there on stage, it was so ironic to see him do it and see the numbers. So what he did was he got on stage, he pulled out his phone and made I would say a skit, but it was just him talking about something that a lot of people can relate to. Like, don't you hate when you was a kid going in and out the house, and what's the one thing your mama always told you? You either in or you're out. When it's a CapCut, uploaded it, put some captions to it, did a nice little intro, outro, and within 3 minutes, he posted it right there on stage at the beginning of his presentation.
Just to show the crowd
how easy and how quick it is to just post the content. And I kid you not, by the time his presentation was over, he had 2,000 comments and he already had 50,000 views on that one video.
For real?
Just showing.
I saw him do the video, but I ain't gonna check the views.
I was watching it while he was doing his presentation. So he was just showing you how, again, there's no excuse.
And what he also showed you was the power of this little device right here.
Yep.
He said, if it wasn't him, it was another speaker that said that today's iPhone, and I'm pretty sure that meant any modern smartphone, has the technology and the quality in the camera of $1,000 DSLR camera.
It does.
So if you have that right here in your pocket walking around with it, there's no reason not to get started, because if you can hold that thing within this close to your face, you're going to capture great audio. You know, I think the secret is using this camera, which is the one that's, what is that, front? Is that considered front or back?
That's the back camera.
That's the back. To use the back camera, which is where all the technology is when you record, and not the one in the front, which is the selfie camera, to get the really clear, focused, and sharp picture quality.
Exactly. So to sum it up with Kev on stage, there's no excuses. Use your phone if you don't have a camera, and do not use perfection as a coping mechanism. I cannot get that right. Do not use perfection as a coping mechanism, because like he just explained, you have the capabilities of a high quality camera in your pocket. We all do. We all got a Samsung, an iPhone. And one more special tip, when you shooting on iPhone, right there at the top, when you go to your camera where it says 30, you click it. All iPhones are capable of shooting in 4K. And the numbers beside it, people don't know because they're not in this field. There's a 30, there's a 120, and there's a 60. You click those, you can change it to 60 frames per second, 120 frames per second, or 30 frames per second. So depending on how advanced and clear you want your stuff, I mean, the default camera mode is going to get it done, but just there's no excuses. So we got a lot of people to talk about, so we're going to move on. The next speaker was CJ. I didn't know who CJ was, but CJ played a vital part in the upbringing and the, I guess, like, come up to two very important people that I did not know CJ played a part in. E.T. Eric Thomas,
motivational speaker.
If you don't know who he is, look him up, pause the video and go type his name in anywhere. You'll see he's the #1 motivational speaker in the world, and he's African American. He looks like us. He don't change who he is. Where he go places, he wear the same cap and t-shirt and gym shorts. He'll walk into
that's intentional
on purpose. And CJ made sure that was part of his brand when bringing him up, getting him booked at different high schools and stuff at the very beginning, and they saw like this like kind of shift and like, okay, he's making an impact. The CJ said, keep that. That's why on his hat it's a logo of E.T. doing his famous like what is it, the Mondays?
Thank God it's Monday.
Because I didn't realize what that logo was until I looked and saw that's E.T. That's E.T. him doing this for his Thank God it's Monday. So
that's his Jordan
logo. Yeah, that's his Jordan logo.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff that I didn't know came to clarity when CJ spoke. And CJ also spoke on our job as the podcaster, as the creative, as the TikTok influencer. Our job is to make them care. Because you got to think, people's attention span is so quick. They scrolling and scrolling. You got to give them substance for them to care about.
Something to stop the scroll.
Exactly.
Because people's attention span is short as an ant.
My goodness.
And I've heard E.T. reference CJ for years in his motivational speaking on YouTube. He was, E.T. has been doing these presentations, and I wouldn't call them podcasts because it's not like because it's always just him, and but it was in the same wheelhouse as a podcast, I guess. And CJ has been around, and I think they said they've been doing it for like 10, 12 years before podcasting was a thing, and how CJ had him and another part of their team, they locked in 11 years ago to making E.T. a household name. That's just how dedicated and committed they became. And I love the fact that, and I got a chance to interview E.T. So you're going to be seeing his interview in a Business FastTrack podcast coming up real soon. So be checking for that. I'm excited for you to see it because the question that I asked him, we was in a crunch. It was so many people just kind of, hovering around him and want to speak to him. And the lady told me one question. I said, yes, ma'am. And I asked him that one question. I had to make that one question really count. And I'm not going to tell you what I asked him, but you got to stay tuned for the next Business Fast Track for when we insert that soundbite, that interview with him into the podcast. I want you to see it's going to be something very special. But one of the things that I really liked about E.T.'s commitment to his brand, because now we're getting into the branding, which is also something we do here at Premium Productions, is that as he started gaining his popularity and increasing his fame and exposure, and also his price tag for going to speak at some of these things, he wanted to maintain the urban look, the baseball cap, t-shirt, sometimes it's jeans, sometimes it's shorts. And when he presented, he had no shoes on. And I'm like, this man, multi-millionaire, is running around on the stage with no shoes on. But his explanation to why is because E.T. is also known as the hip-hop preacher. And he said that he had did his preparation and his prayer before coming on, and his mindset was, I'm about to walk out on holy ground. That's the reason he took his shoes off. His whole presence and his presentation was so powerful, impactful, and dope. And I just love the fact that he said that he's going to be consistent with his ball cap and tennis shoes wherever he go. Whether it's some high dollar executive conference, hey, if they can't receive me with my baseball cap and my sneakers, they don't want me. And that's just how committed he is to his brand and not conforming. So I thought that was really cool.
It is. It was. To wrap up, CJ, one last point that I want to make is the fact that he said something that I feel like you can relate to whenever you are starting, again, a podcast, or you launching a product, or say you got something, you creating something that's already out there, but this is different because you created it. Do what people are not doing, because they lazy. They lazy.
And they're copycats.
Yeah. So if you got a product, or if you got a podcast, or whatever it is you find yourself doing or creating or working in, if you can be that small percent that's doing the work or doing the thing that other people are not doing or too lazy to do, that's what's going to set you apart. That's why you got the people who work in these jobs or that jobs, because other folks don't want to do that. Somebody got to do it. Money's still going to get made. So I just feel like that was a strong point that resonated with me, is because if you're doing what everybody else is doing, what makes you unique?
What makes you unique? And one of the tips that he gave us in order to identify how to find that niche, how to separate yourself, is that whatever industry that your podcast is speaking about, go pull up the top 3 people or the top 3 podcasts in that industry and see what they are doing. Look for what they are doing, and then look for what they're not saying. Or if you're just looking for, hey, I'm going to be in this same industry and I'm just looking for a unique name for my podcast. All of that, and Alicia Little was very instrumental in helping people come up with creative ways with AI, and we'll talk more about her in a minute. But I love how CJ was very detailed about looking online, finding out other people who are in that same industry, and find out what they're not doing, and make that your lane.
Did you know your next customer, donor, or client is already online, looking for someone they can trust? A podcast is one of the most powerful ways to share your expertise, tell your story, educate your audience, and build credibility in your industry. Yet so many businesses, nonprofits, and organizations never get started because they think it's too complicated. At Premium Productions, we've removed every excuse. We already produce multiple podcasts as well as an established business podcast, and our studio is fully equipped with professional cameras, lighting, microphones, even teleprompters to help you look and sound your best. You simply show up and we'll handle the filming, editing, graphics, promotion, and distribution. You don't have to wait until everything is perfect. You just need to start. If you're ready to become the trusted voice in your industry, let's make it happen. Let Premium Productions show you how podcasting can benefit your business.
All right, so next we're gonna move on to Tabo. I didn't really stay for his entire presentation because y'all got to understand, this is a podcast summit, and I love the flow. It was like come as you go. You don't have to stay in this one room. Keep in mind, there's vendors out there selling stuff. It's different podcast sets like everywhere with like mic and chairs where you can come and like film an intro to your podcast or interview somebody that you just met. So I was like a kid in the candy store.
Me too.
Really, I was really like a kid at the book fair when you can just go and buy this book and get this and get that. That's just how I felt because I was kind of overwhelmed. There's so much stuff going on. I can't sit still. But I walked in on Tabo. Tabo spoke about proper lighting and just like camera setup and camera placement with your podcast. I had gave him the notepad while I went out to try to go get some content with some people, and one of the points that he wrote down, which was really important for people who are starting a podcast, when you are interviewing someone that has glasses on like such, and to reduce that glare that you automatically get from the lens, when lighting a person with glasses, position the light above the head of the talent to reduce glare. So instead of having the light directly at me or directly at him, if you can, or you got the lighting capability, go up a little bit and kind of angle it so it's above them, still shedding light on them, but it's not directional, so it's not creating like that invisible, it's like a line that shows.
It's almost like if I'm here and I'm also putting my light here, and then the camera is here, where that light is going here, bouncing off my glasses and into the lens of my camera. But if I have the light here, it's going to hit the face here, and that light is going to go this way, which reduces the chances of it reflecting directly back into the camera. That's why if you see some of the cutaway shots of your NBC newscast, especially on the Today Show, or the NBC National News at 6 o'clock, or the CBS News at 6 o'clock, the lights will be right underneath them, right out of the view of the camera, so that it lights all of this up. And that light, if it's coming in this way, it's bouncing back that way, so the camera has a nice clear view without seeing the reflection from any glass or anything like that, which was a really cool tip, really helpful too. Because that means it don't matter if you got a $20 light box or a $5,000 overhead hanging light fixture, it's not going to do you any good if you don't know how to position that lighting.
So now we're finna move on to DDG. That was somebody that I was super duper excited to see.
I didn't know who that was.
He didn't know who it was, but you know, us young folks, we know who DDG is. We know Tricky Move. We know some of the people that he made famous. I mean, you got Wendy, you got Deshae Frost, all of these different influencers, Ben the Don. So I know y'all gonna know who I'm talking about. And he talked about streaming and keeping people's attentions for 24 hours.
Which was cool. I'm like, who is doing that?
So, and he spoke on how he did a streamathon where I think last year he was live for like a week straight, 24 hours a week straight on his Twitch, and just how he was able to keep people's attention. And one thing, because you got to think, DDG is young. He's like, we're like the same age. I'm 25, he's 25.
Are you finna say the good morning?
Good morning.
Okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say that one thing that he said, because sometimes you run out of ideas of what to do on stream to keep people's attention. And one thing that stood out in my brain, he said, copy people, but make it your own.
Okay.
Copy people. So like if like, for example, Casanet last year did a month-long streamathon for the month of November last year. Every day of November he was live, but every day he did something different and brought in famous people. Like one day he had on Snoop Dogg, one day he brought in Nicki Minaj, one day he brought in John Cena.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? Not just black people. He was bringing in some very influential people that kept his stream going for a whole month every day. Like he did a Thanksgiving
kept it
live
interesting. Yeah.
where he had all of his close friends and they did like Thanksgiving dinner, and Drewski came on and actually showed a guest appearance, and it was just like different things like that. If you got that kind of pull as far as being like up there, so that type of famous where you can have influence with those type of people, bring them on, do certain stuff. Like it's this one game where they have a box and they cut holes in the box where enough where hands can fit in it, but the box is facing the camera. So only the people, the viewers, can see what's in the box.
Oh,
so now
I
you
seen
gotta,
something
so now
like
you
that.
gotta stick your hand in there and guess what it
I
is.
saw
Sometimes
something
it'd be like a
crazy.
baby duck. Sometimes it'd be like a garden snake where it can't hurt you, but it's still a snake, so
Yeah,
people get
it's creepy
scared.
feeling.
Sometimes it's like ranch and hot sauce just mixed in there, and it's like, am I touching pee? What am I touching?
Right.
So it's just certain stuff, small stuff that keeps people attention, and you'll be surprised how many people sit there and watch that. And then DDG switched it up and talked about the monetary side of Twitch and how you get paid from that.
Let's talk about
so
it.
you get paid from gifted subs and consistent subscribers.
What's a gifted sub?
So basically, when you're on Twitch and you're watching somebody's live stream, you have ads that would play. And they be like long ads, like 5-6 minute ads.
Dang.
And to get rid of the ads, you have to subscribe to them.
Okay, I remember hearing him say that.
And it's nothing but like $5 a month. But you got to think, when DDG went live, he had 11,000 people watching him at one time.
11,000
if you got 11,000 people watching you at $5 a month, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
That's real bread.
Real bread. But he had to work his way up to that. Because when he first started streaming, he wasn't getting that many views.
I'm sure.
And another thing that DDG spoke on, that all the other people spoke on, is the consistency factor. You can't go live on Twitch once a month thinking that your Twitch is going to grow. You got to at least go live every day, because I'm in the process of growing my Twitch account. Just from Atlanta, I gained 17 new followers on Twitch. I'm up to like 78. When I started, they're like 60. You know what I'm saying? So like just going live, being consistent, and sometimes people like watching you do your everyday thing, because some people's jobs are, you know what I'm saying, like I feel like my job is something that people would like to see. That's why when we do behind the scenes of certain shoots, when we shooting with this client, that client, behind the scenes of a podcast, I'll just go live and keep the phone up, and you'll be surprised. You look over there, you got about 17 people watching with 4 comments. But and another thing too, 17 people but not sound like a lot. If you in the room with 17 people,
you know what? Yeah. That is a lot of people that are giving you their undivided attention. And speaking of undivided attention, one thing that I remember the DDG guy saying is that how he was running that stream for days on end, and one thing that he did not anticipate but he ended up liking was the fact that this is also overnight. So this man done set the camera up and went to bed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
woke up on stream.
And I'm like, what's that about?
Brushing your teeth on stream.
Brushing your teeth on stream, and see, you know, he's a young, single, I guess nice looking young brother. And he said that, you know, he said that it was kind of cool waking up and looking on the stream, and then you had some chicks talking about good morning. I said, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's streaming in a nutshell. Just being consistent, having good content. It don't have to be the best lighting, and ain't gotta have the best camera. Like I got a secondary phone that I stream off of. I connect a mic to. I got a little tripod for my IRL stuff. You ain't gotta have a streaming backpack like Kai and all these most people got. Keep in mind, that's a $3,000 backpack too. Sometimes they're more expensive than that, because it houses the HDMI cables, your walk-in Wi-Fi. So you always got Ethernet. It's the backpack. They call it a streaming backpack. You get a cheap one for like $3,000. The most expensive one is
that's
like
$10,000. That's a cheap one for $3,000.
That's the cheaper version.
What's the high end?
Like $10,000.
Oh my goodness! You got to be really locked in and serious about your.
When you making that much money in a day, like okay, this the last thing I'm gonna say. Everybody know that Casanet just did a live stream for Streaming University a day or so ago, maybe a month whenever this podcast dropped. Casanet has always been a Twitch streamer. Keep in mind, he took 9 months off. He built his fame and career off of streaming. He made all his money. He took 9 months, almost a year off. He came back on live about 2-3 days ago. He went live on YouTube for the first time ever. He's never did YouTube live, only Twitch.
Okay.
Within his first 20 minutes of being live on YouTube, he put his gross and put his income on screen. You know how much he made in 20 minutes? $100,000.
What?
In 20 minutes. And he was live for 4 hours. So if you made $100,000 in 20 minutes, you can imagine how much he made in 4 hours.
This streaming money is crazy.
It's instant too.
Every organization has a story.
but not every story is told in a way where people can truly feel.
Too often great missions go untold,
Not because they don't matter.
but because the message isn't clear, consistent, or engaging.
At Premium Productions,
We help organizations bring their message to life.
through intentional storytelling, professional video, photography, and strategic marketing. We don't just create content, we build media that connects
Builds trust
and moves people to action.
from healthcare providers and manufacturing.
To nonprofits and community organizations.
We partner with teams who want their message to be seen,
Heard and remembered.
because when your story is told the right way,
It doesn't just reach the people.
it makes an impact.
Let us tell your story.
Let us tell your story.
Yeah.
And one of the guys that I thought really impacted the way I'm starting to approach my podcast was the host, David Shan.
Okay.
David Shan, he was, since he's hosting, he has several opportunities to get on stage and present and talk about, some of the nuggets of, hosting a podcast and things that your podcast should consist of. And I really appreciate him talking about the art of the interview. Mm-hmm. Some of my interviews, if I didn't know the person well, of course I'm going to research them and those kind of things, which he recommended. Know your guests. What I learned from listening to David's presentation is all you really need for a 30-minute podcast is 6 to 8 really good questions. Because because you could even go into it with researching your guests and no actual written questions. You might have a few in your head, but let the answer from the guest move you to your next question. Mm-hmm. That was one. Another very important tip was look for the friction. Look for the friction in the interview, because you don't have to always, that's absolutely right. You don't have to always agree with your guests.
Right.
It gets more interesting when you disagree with your guests, not in a confrontational, type of way, but as a reasonable man with, you know what? I don't really see it that way. Can you explain it in more detail? Mm-hmm. And that allows you to really dig deeper with your guests, to really pull back the layers and just make the guest defend their point. I thought that was some very interesting tips from David in the art of the interview.
I would say one of my favorite things that I picked up from David's presentation was word searching.
Word searching.
Word searching. What is word searching?
Yeah.
So let's say you're interviewing somebody on your podcast and they say something like, man, I went out and did that and I just felt so ashamed. Ashamed? You're pulling back the layer like you just mentioned.
Yeah.
And let's dive into that, which goes into the next point that David mentioned.
That's the way he would segue, is repeat whatever that last.
Let me borrow your vulnerability. Let's dive into it, because that type of stuff is what's going to be more relatable to the people.
Yeah.
You ain't got to prove that you this and that and you got this big face, when that's not what people are going to relate to, because most people don't have all of that going on. But like you said, unveil the layers, borrow your guest's vulnerability, and just dive into some real stuff that you know that the people can relate to. Because when they see you talk, they dealing with that too, and they got $1 million in their account. Let me dive in somewhere. Let me listen.
You know what?
Let me learn something from that.
That was an awesome point, because one of the things that one of the examples that he used when he was making that point is, if you know that you really want to ask an uncomfortable question to your guests, be revealing in your own flaws. Be transparent in your own flaws, because once you do that, it takes the pressure or shame off of your guests to a certain degree and make them comfortable enough to reveal that answer that you're really searching for. And it was so cool. The example that he gave was David Letterman interviewing Jay-Z and asking him about his infidelity with Beyonce.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he approached it was he put himself out there first.
Exactly.
He put himself in an uncomfortable situation that we never knew happened, with David Letterman and his wife. But he revealed that on live TV as he led up to his question with Jay-Z, and you could tell Jay-Z never saw it coming, But since he was so transparent and revealing in his own flaws, then it just lowered the temperature of the question. So Jay-Z just went on and answered it. And it was the art of the interview with things like that really taught you some very important lessons on how to approach your guest with some potentially uncomfortable questions.
Exactly. And so, for example, for people who need to be spoon-fed, I give you this. So I am you, and this is your guest. So I want to pick up right here. So Bernard, just a little bit about myself. About a year or so ago, before I strengthened my walk with the Lord, I found myself in very low places. And one of the places I found myself was therapy. I did that for about 8 to 9 months because I noticed before I could be who I want to be with other people, I got to be comfortable with myself first.
Okay.
And it was a long process, but it was a strong process. And I'm grateful for where it has me today so I can be here talking to you. And that takes me to my next point. There was some speculation in the news about some things going on with you, Bernard, as far as, the therapy lessons and the stuff that they put out about, you and your wife. So I just wanted to, if you want to go into that a little bit and just give me your take on it.
Well, to be honest, AJ, it was a very uncomfortable time in my marriage and in our relationship. And, I had to own my mistakes.
Word searching.
See, and I had built up enough courage to respond to the question and actually answer him. But when he did that, now he's finna actually reveal my mistake and blow the whole interview up potentially if I'm not prepared. But that's exactly a great example.
So what you learned from that is don't be scared to ask for their vulnerability. One, go about that by, secondly, being vulnerable yourself,
right,
revealing something to the guest and to the audience so that makes them more inclined and more vulnerable to do so. And then once you get into that question or that deep response, then you word search and you nitpick and you slightly manipulate to get the authenticity that the viewer can relate to.
And that will give you such an amazing interview that you should see the views and the response and the engagements once you upload that content. Mm-hmm. So that was awesome. Kudos to David Shan for providing that content.
So the next person that spoke at the podcast summit was one of our favorite people. I'm not trying to play favorites, but she just has so much wisdom that she just gives out. And with us being in this media, videography field, Alicia Little.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
The AI queen.
The AI queen, man. I mean, it was
she earned that title.
She did. And every time she speaks, she proves why she has that title.
Yeah.
She always giving out gems because, like, I would go in there in the office just and do research on certain things that can help make print productions flow more smoothly and doing this and that. But she just kept dropping different jewels on different AI softwares that I ain't even know was out. I knew it was capable, but just didn't know what site or what resource I needed to use to do certain things, like building a super agent.
Oh yeah,
like
that was so cool. Her presentation, she introduced her super agent Maximus. Man, tell them about it.
So basically, she gave us the website, and she gave it to us. I'll give it to y'all. It's called buildasuperagent.com. And she gave us certain prompts to put into it to basically give us a research assistant that's in our field. And you can do the same whether your field is construction, the hair industry, finance. This could be like basically like an assistant or another team member that you don't have to pay, that can do the research and the roles. You can assign it roles. You can assign it so where when you come in the morning, there are new emails in your email of up-to-date information of things that you need to know that's in your field. I mean, it's like so many things that it can do, man.
It can send out emails. It can filter through the junk. Go ahead and get rid of those for you. If your focus is on a particular type of client this week, it can be researching those and now have some for you to review to start your day. You already have, hey, here goes 6 potential dentist offices if you're targeting dentist offices this week or this month. And here are some that's within a 30-mile radius that I've already reviewed and I've already selected and have for you to review. You know, these are things that a actual warm body used to do, you know, but now your super agent has went through and filtered emails and only got the good ones for you to even look at. It actually has responded to some because you have trained it for some that's simply asking like simple, you know, yes or no questions, or things that are more, I won't say mundane, but copy and paste for you to respond to. It has already responded and actually sent out those emails. And there were so many cool things that agent can do. And one of the things that we have just created our agent to do is how to be an SEO expert in how to tweak our YouTube channel and help our videos get more engagement, higher rankings on our YouTube channel.
Yes. That was such a fun process to do. We literally just did it last night, to be honest. And basically, because I don't want to gatekeep, you got buildasuperagent.com. And if you go to their website, y'all are smart. You'll see and just follow along as far as what you want your agent to do, what the roles you want it to do. And then it's another page after you get there called connectors. You can connect your Gmail account. You can connect your calendar. So it'll put stuff on the calendar for you. Like he said, it'll email certain clients for you, and it'll put them to your email. Just whatever you want it to do, it'll do it. But another resource that I feel like a lot of people are not using to their maximum capability would be ChatGPT. Because like he just mentioned, we just was able to build an agent to help us do SEO, search engine optimization for our YouTube channel. I mean, it's to the point where we were able to go into ChatGPT, give it this prompt on how we want you to be able to use all your research, all of your resources, and the latest AI technology to help us build our Business FastTrack YouTube channel to reach the masses, as far as being top on the feed, you know, our click rate, our viewership, as far as like getting the analytics up. And it's just gonna have recommendations, different thumbnails that it'll create, because it's clickbait.
I love that.
It's
thumbnail.
Clickbait. You gotta think you're tricking the people, because you can have something that they have no interest in, but if the title looks how it look, I mean, I'm guilty of it. I'll just click on it.
And see, AJ has been awesome in creating our thumbnails for YouTube before, but when we saw what that agent created last night for our latest podcast, the way it created the thumbnail, I was like, ooh, that's tough. Yeah. It just this is the world that we're in. This is the area that we're moving in. So why not lean into some of these tools that's going to make your job not only easier, but it knows it. It can go and create and pull this stuff faster than you can sit there and create it, and it's going to be right in line with what the algorithm is looking for to push your stuff out to a certain audience, because it knows what kind of clickbait that people will, you know, that will stop the scroll. So why not lean into it? Yeah. I love, and all the people that we just mentioned, from ET, Alicia Little, David Shands, and Brandon Dixon and some of these others, they were all very approachable. Now, even though they had their people with them who was trying to keep them on task as far as time, but as far as, hey, can I speak to you for a minute? Got a quick question. Do you mind if I interview? Yeah, how you doing, brother? Where you from? And actually showed interest in us, actually wanted to know who we are. Right. What part of the country did you come from? And that kind of thing. And for someone on that status to actually not only see you, but to take interest in you, oh man.
It means a lot.
It means a lot. And that's what made the whole, even though there was thousands, I think they said there was over 2,000 people in attendance, not to mention, the staff and volunteers and that kind of thing. But once you got a chance to, get close to these people, and they wasn't just acting all, high and mighty and, and that kind of thing, it just made it seem like community,
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things I really enjoyed from it.
Yes. So we got two more people that we want to speak about. I'll move on to Chris Sane. Chris Sane was a very unique individual.
Yeah.
I will start out by saying he retired himself at 35 years old.
Who does that?
That's unheard of. Chris has 1.1 million subscribers on YouTube. And if anybody knows anything about YouTube money, come on now. And I'm trying to see, okay, how did he make his money? What field is he in? Because he wasn't a public speaker. He wasn't this and that. Turns out, Chris Sane makes his money off trading and stocks.
Yeah.
He's learned the stock market.
Beast.
He's learned how to properly trade. He got courses that he teaches people. He got other instructors that he's put on. And what really made me lock into his presentation is that he came with receipts. He had a screenshot of a payout that's finna happen. I think it was scheduled for 3 days after the summit, it was 2026, it was legit. This man had a payout of $660,000 that he was making in 1 month, scheduled to go to his bank account within
stupid.
2 to 3 days. That's people's salary. That's people's.
And he was making that. I would love to get $600,000 in a year, and this brother has positioned himself to get that in a month. So I loved his presentation. I love one thing that he talked about. Two things that stood out to me. One would be when he started, because he has a YouTube channel, of course, and he goes on there. They're pre-recorded. They're not live. And every time he starts his videos off, he always starts off by loving on his family, highlighting others' success. The people who follow him, his followers, he has different group chats and this, that, and the third, and and he makes sure that he's active in it. He's not putting himself as higher than this and that. He talks to his people, he talks to his followers, the people who he teaches, and he starts off every video by highlighting their success. And I feel like, one, that helps with viewership. Yeah.
Two, that helps with community engagement. I
can see that.
Being able to, the boss man is talking about little old me to his 1.1 million subscribers. I made $1,000 this month, nowhere near where he made, but the fact that he made me feel like I made the 600.
You're seen and you're just as important.
So I thought that was very, very, very cool. And the other thing that he spoke about a lot, but one thing that I thought would be very important to mention, especially to you, if you're starting a podcast or if you're building a community in general and you're trying to get to a point where you have a paid subscription or a paid this, because of course the free game is good, but the free game is not going to make you any money.
Right.
Because I knew what they were, but having Telegram and a Patreon,
I didn't know what a Patreon was until he explained it.
I've always known what it was, but I just didn't see the value in what it was.
Okay.
A Patreon basically is where people pay a monthly subscription to something.
Yeah.
And it's his monthly subscription to learning about trading and stocks. But he phrased it in a way where, yes, I'm giving away this free game on my YouTube channel and all my videos, I'm giving out these nuggets. But if you want the other nugget to make these nuggets work, you got to go subscribe.
Yeah, to the
so
Patreon.
It's like a call to action. So for you, if you got T-shirts that you selling or a T-shirt that you making with your business, you can go on live or have a podcast talking about the process and this and that. But as far as manufacturing, where you getting your products from, because you got to think you're getting your shirts at 90 cents a piece to sell them at this price. So you create a Patreon, get your community to subscribe to it for what, $5-6 a month. If you got 100 people paying $6 a month,
or start off with 99 cents.
Just
want to get people trained for the subscription.
Exactly.
And once they see the value, then next year, hey, now it's $1.99. And the people that's rocking with you, they're gonna spend that extra dollar.
They are.
And the new people, well, they came in with the $1.99. And if you're providing value, what's $1.99? Shoot, I pay $1.99 a month for Google storage.
Yeah. Me too.
And that's, I guess I was finna say, that ain't teaching me nothing, but it is providing value. And the fact that they have trained me that, hey, it ain't like this a one-time thing, which it should be, but I gotta, in order to keep this storage, they continue to draft that $1.99
every month.
So if I'm continuing to provide value to you with the content that I'm providing, you need to keep paying that $2.99 for this subscription. So that was a very interesting nugget, so that if that's what your goal is and that's where you're trying to get to, or if you was like me, I didn't even know that was a thing. Guess what? We need to incorporate that Patreon.
And incorporate the Patreon. If what we said went over your head, know this: Patreon equals money. I mean, that's
Believe
it.
that.
And you got to get to that point, but you got to have something worth subscribing for. Y'all know that much, though.
Right.
Y'all know that. Last thing I want to say about Chris Saint before we move on, I put this bullet point down. People don't care how much you know until they know you care.
How much you care. Yeah.
So that's very true. So when you out here creating content and you like, oh my God, I'm only getting 5-6 views and it's not doing what I wanted it to, is because you can't just put out content and thinking like, I know this and that and I know all. It's, yes, you may know it, but people don't care that you know it until they know that you care about them. You got to create a level of authenticity in your content and connect to the viewers, because we all the same. We all bleed the same red blood, but you need to dummy it down. I don't know if that's the right word, but just slow down and really connect with them. Pay attention to the comments.
Really connect with them. Yeah, like you said, find out what they want, and if they come into your channel for a particular, and you're teaching a particular thing or talking about a particular subject, well, obviously they're interested in that, but check out the comments so you might can respond to some of those things to let that viewer know that, hey, I see you out there.
I see you.
And like you said, it just adds, people want to be seen. You ain't got to, come out and take them to dinner or anything like that, but just acknowledge them, let them know that, hey, it ain't all about me, and I'm not always trying to sell stuff and push stuff, on you. Sometimes, because, hey,
responding to people goes farther than you think, whether it's a DM or it's a response to a comment under one of your videos. Responding to people goes, that one response to that comment probably just gained you another year subscription with your Patreon with them. It's point. Just, you never know.
Good point.
So
and then other viewers are just saying, do you respond to anybody?
Yeah.
Or is it all about you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
the final speaker that we're gonna talk about was I hate saying favorites, but I just love him. It was Omar. Oh man. Little
slack penny loafer buddy.
Yes, he was so cool to meet, so cool to talk to. Like how he is on social media is how he is in real life.
That's how he was in person.
He's so approachable.
Yeah, that was so cool.
And just like but you got to understand too, Omar has mastered the art of communication.
I think
so. You can never know when he's like, you just never know. Like, is he giving?
And I never heard him go or I think he has rehearsed and practiced that so much that he
still gets nervous though, because
I'm sure he does, because he's a person, but he's so used to speaking, and so many parts of his YouTube videos are talking about being a good communicator. If you're a great communicator and can hold a conversation for any length of time, you should be able to take the card straight out of the camera raw and upload it, and there's your content. I mean, he's just so smooth with it, man.
So Omar's presentation was on how to grow your YouTube channel. One of the points that he made was both parties have to benefit. The creator who understands the viewers best wins. Let me say that again. The creator who understands the viewers best wins, which kind of alluded to our last point with Chris saying, as far as people don't know how much people don't care how much you know unless they know how much you care. Yeah. So it's kind of rewording that, but it's very true because everybody ain't lying.
Yeah, and he added a little more to that by saying both parties have to benefit.
Yeah.
What are they getting from your content?
Yes. So keep that in mind when you're going about creating your podcast, creating your product, which I guess a product, I get it, because of course it's something you can benefit from. This is mainly for people who are starting podcasts. Have your podcast based around something that people can actually benefit from. Like today, we were just trying to give out gems. So if you are starting a podcast, hopefully you can learn something out of all the stuff we talked about that can help you better position yourself to the viewers and to the community. So, you can be successful. We all want to win,
And we want you to win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Omar talked about the Trinity of YouTube. Trinity is a triangle, the 3 different points. So you have one point, which is your title. Your title of the YouTube video. That's very important because, I mean, depending on what the title is, people may or may not click on it.
Right.
And he also let us know, and we tested this out yesterday, that with YouTube titles and the thumbnails, you can't test them out. You can have 3 of them and test them out, and when you get ready to post your video, YouTube will cipher all 3 titles and thumbnails, and after like 24 to 48 hours, it'll let you know which one to go with. How does it do that? Depending on if you're on an iPhone, a tablet, or a desktop, you will see one of the 3 that you upload as far as the consumer, the viewer.
Because when the one that we just did last night, when I looked at my phone, I saw one thumbnail, but when I looked at my desktop, it was a different thumbnail.
That's YouTube using AI to test out to give you the best results on how you need to be moving forward when it comes to thumbnails and YouTube titles.
Which I thought was so cool because you know what? You just reminded me, when we get done with this podcast, I'm finna go see which one did it land on.
So the second part of the Trinity is thumbnail. And he said that is more important than the title, which I can see that because that's going to be the eye catching. That's the visual.
What's keeping people. That's what's catching people's eye. That's what's stopping the scroll.
Which goes back into you can test them out as well. Because I had to go to it and see. But when you're uploading your video content to YouTube, when you go to thumbnail options, you'll see a button called test. And they got A and B beside it. You click that, and there's 3 different options where you can upload 3 different thumbnails with 3 different titles, and then click done. So when you get ready to publish, like we just talked about, it's going to test out all 3 of those.
And isn't YouTube now, it has like the AI software where it will create those different versions of the thumbnails for you? Oh.
It'll generically pick 3 out of your video, but it won't create a thumbnail for you. No.
Okay. I misunderstood.
The last part of the Trinity, which is very, very important, this is a major key, is the first 30 seconds of your video. Of course, some people start with like their little opening, or some people just do a fade up and go right into, hey, I'm here with Billy Bob.
But the recommended approach is what?
The recommended approach is going to be have 3 things in the first 30 seconds of your video. And I wrote them down so I wouldn't tell you improperly. Clarity, comprehension, and credibility.
Clarity, comprehension, and credibility.
What are you finna talk about? How is it going to benefit them? And how are you going to show them to implement it right then and there?
Okay.
So that's basically what you need to try to get your audience hooked on for each video in the first 30 seconds is, what are we talking about? How's it going to benefit them? And how they can implement it today. Because that's what they want, instant satisfaction.
And that's and that whole process is a word that he just used. That's the hook. That's what you are using to hook that viewer to watching your podcast all the way through, partial way through, at least to view a portion of the podcast is the hook.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's something that we have started to implement in the Business Fast Track videos. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but from the first couple to where we at now, even though we only 8-9 episodes in, we've started.
This will make 10.
This will make 10.
Yeah, we just now double digits, y'all.
So we've started at the very beginning. We'll pick like what we think is an impactful sound bite. So as soon as you start it, before you see our intro, before you see Low, if there's anything, you'll see whoever he has on as a guest. It will just be an impactful part of the interview. So it's like, oh wow, I think I want to stay and listen to the rest
and
of
that's
this.
just taking a sound bite out of context to give like a shock attention getter effect, to make people want to be like, oh man, I want to see they look like they was into it, or whatever the case may be. But that interesting sound bite is what we're using, and what everyone, who is intentional about their podcast is putting at the front to go ahead and hook you. Now you'll stay for the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's two different approaches with the first 30 seconds. You can do what we just talked about, where finding a powerful sound bite out of context to put at the beginning to hook them. So now it's like, I want to find where they was talking about this at. Or I didn't realize I wrote this down because this is something Omar is known for. He's keen to be doing this type of stuff. I'm going to show you how to make $10,000 doing stuff that you already know. You know what I'm saying? Just something like that.
Yeah.
Like as soon as he started the video, he just come to it like that.
yeah, and now you sitting there waiting on when you gonna show me how to make the 10 grand
With stuff that I already know.
with all stuff I already know.
That's what he do, man.
Yeah.
He that's what he do. Because what did he call it? He called it a business. YouTube is a business.
Yeah, and he's called it, YouTube is a packaging business.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And one other thing that I noticed that he said was to put your own ad in every podcast.
You are a moment. You are a passionate moment. You are eternal. You are a first kiss, a first touch, the first memory of what it felt like to be loved. You are me, and I am you.
I am love.
So yeah, all of those were great speakers. I enjoyed them. You enjoyed them.
Yeah.
And our goal for this podcast is to recap all of the awesome tips, nuggets, lessons that we learned from these successful podcasters and speakers, and just bring them home to you so you guys can benefit from them. And hopefully it will give you the confidence to either start your own podcast, and the ones who are already doing your podcast, little tips to kind of improve, enhance the way you're going about it,
Right.
and those kind of things.
Right. So as we wrap up, there's some things I want y'all to remember. There's no excuses not to get started.
No excuse.
You have a cell phone. If you got a phone, if there's a will, there's a way. So no excuses of not to get started. And once you get started, stay consistent. If y'all don't pick up on anything that we talked about in this podcast,
Consistency.
starting and staying consistent. You can work out the fine details later, but just getting your name out there, your brand out there, and building a community, that is, you have to have that to have anything. So start, there's no excuses, and stay consistent. And if you want to level up your podcast or level up in any way as far as your brand, video production, y'all know to hit up Premium Productions. And stay tuned to the Business Fast Track YouTube channel and the Instagram page and our Facebook group just on more tips to help you flourish in this industry.
And until next time, stay tuned to Business Fast Track and be blessed.